In this lesson, I want to talk to you about the layout templates that we're going to use for our Spring It application in this course. First, I want to make this very clear. I am not a designer. These are basic templates that we're going to use, but I thought I would share with you my process and how I create them, and maybe you can take something from that. So I want to start with this. So whenever I want to create some type of layout, I always start with a pen and a piece of paper, and there's a good reason for this. So what I'm looking to do is create a basic wireframe of what my application or website is going to look like. And the reason I do this with paper is because if you use programs that are meant to design layouts, then you'll get too hung up on all of the little things like, is this aligned correctly? Is this spaced out horizontally correctly? Do these colors go together? Does this look right next to it? And that can kind of hinder creativity. At least for me, it does. And so what I do is I take a notebook, and I have a notebook here that I want to share with you. It's the Code and Quill notebook. This is actually my second set. I have 3 of them. And I just really like the notebook because on one side, you can have an area where you can kind of sketch stuff out, and on the other side you have lines where you can kind of write notes about that. And so what I did is I went through and wireframed kind of what I wanted this application to look like, and then what I do is I take those wireframes and I go straight into something like to create an HTML template. Now if they're more complex designs and you need to show them off, again, I'm no designer, but there are different applications out there where you can kind of take your wireframe, get a little bit more of a design before you start coding anything. There's a great application for Mac called Sketch, which a lot of my designer friends highly recommend, and I've even taken a look at it myself, and I really enjoyed it. So that's kind of the thought process. So what I want to do now is just kind of jump in. We'll take a look at where you can get these HTML templates from and just how they work and what we're going to use them for. So the reason I did this too, I want to make this clear, is this is not a front-end course. You're not taking this course to learn front-end development. And so I didn't really think that you wanted to sit through and watch all of these HTML templates being built out. So I'm giving these to you to get started with. Now, when we have to add dynamic functionality to these templates using something like Timeleaf, we're definitely going to go through that together. But just the shell of the application, I didn't really feel like it was necessary for us to go through together. So let's jump over to the computer here now and look at these templates, and we'll just walk through them and kind of talk about them. All right, the first thing about these templates is that you can go ahead and grab these from this particular repository. These are not going to be in the same repository as the entire course. Everything else in this course is in a single repository, but I wanted to keep these separate because once we get them into the project, we're going to start adding dynamic features to them. And I may find that I want to change something in the layout later as I'm developing this course. And in that sense, I'll just update this particular project here. And when you're coming back to watch this, you can pull down the latest and greatest kind of layout that I'm using. So if they don't look exactly how we go through them today, just know that I might have changed them a little, but the basic shell / structure should be there. So that's where you can get them, and let's just kind of walk through them. So under here, I have an index.html, and again, this is our Spring Boot Reddit clone. So here I am in Visual Studio. It has a live server, so we can click on Go Live, and it'll actually fire up this particular template. And so here is our template. Let me stretch this out a little bit more. All right, that looks better. Let me close this. And so this is the basis for our application. So when I sat down and started to wireframe this, I really thought of like the Pivotal website, how it has that little green bar at the top and then the brown menu. And I wanted to kind of create something similar to that. So that's what you're looking at. So we have our Spring It logo and we have some navigation menu items here. Now, all of these are showing, but when we get into the app, not all of them will be available. So home will always be available, but things like submit link, your account, will not be available unless you're logged in. So I did make some notes in here. So it says, if the user is signed in, or if the user is not signed in, this is what we're showing. So if they're not signed in, we want to say, hey, go ahead and sign in or register. If they are signed in, they can check out their account, sign out, or submit a new link. There's some information about the project, just in case other people come across these templates. It'll point back to the GitHub repo and the course link. So here on the main page, we are going to have our layout for all of our different links. So this number right here is going to be the current upvote, downvote count. And we're going to have an up arrow and a down arrow where we can click to either upvote or downvote this link. We'll have a link title that will link to that link. And next to it, we'll have the domain names. So Reddit does this on all of their links. They kind of have the domain name next to it. So if you're looking at a list of links, you can get an idea right away, like who that link is from or what domain that's from. And then we'll do some stuff underneath there. So like submitted, instead of a time, we're going to talk about displaying the time at first. So submitted at, 10:30 a.m. EST or whatever. But we'll look at some cool features that we can do with some cool projects in Java to deal with time. There are a few of them, and we'll take a look at one where we can give it a time and we get this really cool representation. So in this case, we want to say submitted 2 hours ago. Now we're not going to, type out 2 hours. We're going to just give this project, these classes a time, and it's going to be able to represent that in different ways for us. So we'll say that 2 hours ago by, and then the user who posted that. Then we'll have comments and share. So share doesn't do anything right now, but it'll probably pop down a div underneath it like it does on Reddit and give you some share options to kind of share this with your friends. Now the comments, so right now it says there are 8 comments. When we click on comments, it's going to go to the listing of that particular link that was submitted. So all of this up here is going to be the same. Then we'll have a title. This should probably say 8, but all of the different comments are going to be, the number of comments is going to be listed here. Then we have a place where you can add a new comment. And then underneath here, we're going to have all of the different comments. So we have the user that's commenting, again, some type of nice time representation of when that comment was placed, and then the comment. We'll also have a permalink to it and maybe a like feature. I haven't really decided on this yet, but we'll probably throw that in. Now, the only thing is I want to keep this pretty simple here. I don't want to get caught up on kind of some extra features that we don't really need to do here. On Reddit, there is a threaded comment. So if you have a comment here, you can reply to just this particular comment. We're not going to do that here. We're just going to add the ability to add comments to this. But as we will talk about when we start to build that feature out, that may be a good opportunity for someone in this course to go ahead and add that to kind of give back to this project. So that'll be pretty cool. We'll talk about doing that. So that's the comment section. Then somebody can come in, if they're logged in, they can come in and submit a link. So we'll have a form here where they can submit a link, and because they're logged in, it'll tie that user's account to this link. And we'll have some form validation here to make sure that they're adding that stuff. We probably won't have a description, so I may pull that off. I was just playing around with maybe doing something there, but we'll keep this form pretty simple. We'll also have an account. So we have an account profile page. So on the right here, you have like a user icon or a user profile image. And this will give us some experience with working with images and different ways we can store those images and upload in Spring Boot and that kind of stuff. From here, that you can go to a new post. We may have some information here. Maybe if you click on a link, I haven't decided what's all going to be in the right-hand side. This is just kind of a mock-up. And then over here, we're going to have overview, posts, comments, and preferences. So in Bootstrap, this is using a tab kind of layout along with cards. So the idea is in the overview section, that'll be everything. If you comment, if you post a new link, those are all listing here. If you click on post, it just shows things that you've posted. If you click on comments, just things that you've commented on. And preferences, we may have some preferences for the user. One of the preferences I like, or sort of like, in Reddit is in your user preferences, you can say, when I click a link, I want it to open in a new window. It kind of bugs me that you can't just open it in a new tab. It has to open in a new window, but maybe we'll add that as a preference to our application here so that if you want links to open in a new tab, so we'll call it a blank, then that may be one of the preferences we add. I'm still not sure what other preferences we'll have, but that'll be a place where you can come into your account and add some preferences. So that's our account, and then we'll just have a sign in and sign out, and we'll also have a registration form. So you as a user will come in and again we'll have validation, name, email address, password, confirm, and we'll probably need to add a user image to this, but we won't require that. So that's something that if you wanted to add later, you can come and upload an image, a profile image of yourself. So that's it. That's all there really is to these templates. Again, we have things like index, link, the login, profile. There's a README, register, and a submit link. And then I put everything inside of static because that's kind of where they're going to go once we get them into our Spring Boot app. There's things like CSS, images, JS, and libs. So those are the templates. Again, you can get them here at this repository, springit-templates, and pull those down and play with them. And you can adjust them any way you like. If you have a suggestion of a better way to do something, please send me a pull request. We'll take a look at it and maybe merge that into the project. So that's the UI. Now that we're done with that, we can take a look at the domain model in the next lesson. And as soon as we get that done, we're getting much closer here to go ahead and start writing some code. So with that, let's move on.